Hey, this is Rolf Versluis, Block Ops. Happy to be on another Horizen live stream. It's the 7th of August, and we've got a lot of great stuff to cover today. Significant improvements and discussions, and all sorts of activity that we've got going on. To introduce you to your host, here is Rob Viglione, FinPump.
Thank you very much, Rolf. Welcome everybody, August 7th, the Horizen monthly live update. So we have some really big things to cover this month. As Rolf mentioned, it's been a crazy month. Even though we're kicking off the summer here, the team's been burning pretty hard. And let's move to the next slide. I'll show you some of the topics. So probably the first big announcement that we have is that we have Horizen's first sidechain node live on Devnet. So this is our internal developer network, and this is a significant accomplishment for us. When Maurizio talks later on, you'll see the timeline we've had, but basically this project went from R&D about a year ago, or less than a year ago, to now we have our first live node on our internal DevNet. So you'll see the plan going from there is we have a very aggressive development schedule here to soon release our alpha product, which will be our on testnet. So that's some big news. We have also a couple of other little announcements. So we had just yesterday our first 1 year anniversary of having the Horizen Investment Trust live on the marketplace, brought to the market by Grayscale, excellent partner. And you'll see our dear Vano is actually joining us from his honeymoon, which is kind of ridiculous. But shows the level of commitment we have on the team there. So more on that when he talks later at the end. So as usual, we'll cover the community highlights, hand off to Rowan to cover the business development updates, and we have some big ones. We've had a big push for a few things that he's going to mention coming to fruition. So very happy about what's going on there. And behind the scenes, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much going on, with that team. If you were to see their Monday board, it's kind of ridiculous. And then we'll get into the development project updates. I'll walk you through that. Per usual, we'll discuss those that are ongoing, those that are closed already, and give you a little flavor for what to expect in basically this next month. And then I'll pass off to Maurizio. He's going to go into more of the meat on the engineering side of what exactly is going on there, getting into the sidechain system in particular, and just talking a little bit about the most recent release we've had on our software. And then we'll also throw in here a little bit of a surprise. So we're going to have Jonas talking about a new pretty big, I would say major project that we're kicking off. We have been kicking off internally, and now we're at least sufficiently mature on the planning to announce it to you guys what's going on. It's fantastic from a community building perspective and exactly the type of community building we need to be doing. Then we'll hand it off to Lucy. She'll get into the marketing updates. Again, big progress there. All of our numbers are up, doing a fantastic job following through on our marketing plan, on our strategy, and you'll see all the comms channels that we have and engagement levels are doing very well. And then we'll pass off for regional activity. So next slide, please. Let's get into the community member highlights. I guess before we do that, sorry to fumble over my words here, guys, but the ZEN Trivia that we've been doing to support these events to really get more engagement on the live streams in particular, don't forget to participate. So we had 2 lucky winners recently, or every month we have 2 lucky winners. We had 2 from last month, and we're going to do 2 again this month. Lucy's going to talk more about that, the details, and how to participate. Next slide, please. Okay, so community member highlights. So Alex, first of all, thank you very much for participating the way you do. You've been actually a fantastic breath of fresh air and positive support on a lot of our comm channels. Very, very much appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. So one thing that I've been hammering internally to our team is it's all about community, and we need significantly more engagement. And then when we actually start engaging, we realize not all of our channels are properly moderated, and maybe sometimes things aren't as productive or positive as they ought to be. So guys like Alex getting out there and just being very proactive and being supportive in the community channels is awesome. So please continue to do that. Very much appreciate it. And Ag and Fab, I don't know how to pronounce that, but you're awesome. I love your art that you've been posting in our different channels. And Telegram in particular, you've been very active posting your artwork. And then also on Reddit, I've noticed that and very much appreciate it. So love the New York City skylines and the London skylines in particular. Thank you very much. And Martial Life, very, very much appreciate you again, echoing the positive sentiment in the community across your social media channels. The team's noticed and really felt that we had to highlight you for all the positive contributions you've been doing. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. All right, here's where I'm going to hand it off to Rowan to go into some of the fantastic BD updates.
Thank you, Rob. Perfect. So it's obviously very, very important that we continuously push into as many new markets as physically possible to make ZEN as globally accessible as physically possible. Myself and the rest of the BD team have a pretty healthy pipeline of integrations that we're working on at the moment, and we've made some pretty nice progress over the past couple of weeks. So the first of the new integrations is coming to fruition, and you can see here in front that ZEN, as of literally about half an hour ago, is now actively trading on bw.com. For those of you that aren't aware of BW, they actually ran one of the original large mining pools before pivoting their business into an exchange, which is what they are today. They're a pretty large exchange, currently at number 18 on CoinMarketCap. We're going to start by phasing the ZEN trading pairs in. So we're going to first off have ZEN USDT, which is active and trading now. And then over this evening, in the next couple of days, we'll be adding ZEN BTC and ZEN ETH pairs. So BW.com is obviously a desktop exchange, but they also have a pretty nice app for both Android and iOS. So I very much urge you to go and check them out. And then in the next slide, ZEN has also been listed on Talk OK, which are based British Virgin Islands, established back in 2018. Again, a pretty large exchange. These guys are currently sitting around about number 32 on CoinMarketCap. And there's just the one trading pair going live here for the time being. That's ZEN BTC. And again, these guys are available desktop, Android, and iOS. So 2 new markets for ZEN. Very much urge everybody to go and check out these new exchanges. This next slide needs no real introduction. What I will say here, though, is that one of the largest barriers to entry for fund managers, institutional investors, is finding a suitable custody solution. And one of the largest and most well-known and most trusted custody solutions on the market today is Coinbase Custody. These guys are using the security and custody solution that Coinbase has been using since 2012. And back in 2018, they basically offshoot it as a commercial venture and set it up as a new custody service. So for those of you not aware, it enables, like I say, funds, institutional investors to cold store their assets in a very secure and stable way. So support of ZEN is currently pending regulatory approval. This is not a firm deal that's been done. This is a case of Coinbase Custody exploring to see if it's going to be possible for them to integrate ZEN. But still a huge step in the right direction and something that we're very, very proud and happy to be announcing here today. And that's it from me. I'll pass back.
Cool. Thank you very much, Rowan. So one big thing that we've been kind of foot stomping for a while is our public development. We're basically migrating a lot of the, or almost all of the development activity that we have ongoing to the public domain. So what we've been doing, probably something that isn't as well known is our team started off very small, right? So 2 years ago, we started with a very small team in general, very resource constrained, and then just the commitment to open source and doing things in public actually takes resources, and to do it right takes real resources, because you can have a lot of contribution, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't, but you have to QC it or quality control it. You have to do code review. You have to test it sufficiently. And everything that you post to your public repository as an organization, you're making a commitment to it being of the same quality standards that you have for everything else, and that's maintained over time. So you have to put resources into maintenance. So we've been very cautious with the way we do things. In fact, our strategy probably up until about 6 months ago was to do most of our design and early development work in private. And then when the code was sufficiently matured, to migrate that over to the public repositories. So that's changed. So the pendulum has been swinging the other way. Now that our engineering team has grown sufficiently, and we think, the resources to actually make this more of a sustained reality, is we're actually migrating almost everything we do to the public domain. So significant amount of engineering work has been going on in private on sidechains. And the big, public dump here is going to be when we actually flip the switch to make those private repositories public. But that said, in the meantime, we're setting up the processes now. So Rosario's team has been doing a fantastic job with Alberto, Mauricio's teams on the engineering side to migrate a lot of the stuff that we're doing, in particular for ZEN public. So our ZEN work now has been public for some time. And now we're going to be doing more of that, in particular when the sidechain alpha gets released towards the end of September, early October. So it's a big deal for us. And really, this is something that's so symbiotic with other things that we're doing that we're going to talk about shortly. But really, the thing here is our commitment to transparency and now also the engagement. So you're going to see from our projects that we're making a big commitment now towards developer engagement. So the developer community is arguably one of the most important subsets of our overall community that we need to do a better job of engaging, providing useful and productive opportunities for them to contribute to the project, and really just do this in a way that's very collaborative. And that starts with first being transparent. So this also factors into things like, and I'm going to talk about in another slide, our fundamental crypto asset score rating. So when people look at our project and they try to assess the quality of our project, the quality of the work that's going on, are we, just a shell of a project where it's all just kind of fancy websites and little engineering substance behind it? There are ratings agencies that actually do deep dive on your code bases and gather other metrics like metadata from your repositories that aren't yet public. And I'll talk about that, but our commitment to making our public repositories more active and engaging there as really our first point of contact with the community on the engineering side is critical for long-term showing the world that we are doing a significant amount of high-quality engineering work. So that said, we are in this process of migration, and we're actually hiring like crazy people these days. We're going out to the marketplace to hire some very key positions. We're looking for some DevOps people to beef up our DevOps team. We're looking at repository maintainers and so forth. And this is all going to factor into another project that I'm going to talk about. So next slide, please. And by the way, I love the graphics. So you've got the table here. We want other people to come join us at the table to participate. Okay, so part of this transparency effort, you've got the engineering stuff going on in our GitHub repositories. And then there's also, we're opening up our team calls. So we do weekly team calls where you can see exactly what where we collaborate internally. And what we figured is we can get actually much better, a really good opportunity for visibility if we open these up to the public. So of course, there are some things that we're not going to be making public if there's a temporal constraint there. Say, for instance, like a big exchange listing going live. We're not going to be speaking about this publicly until we actually have the green light to make a public announcement. Same goes for any, say like theoretically like a security vulnerability or other critical infrastructure things. We're going to still maintain some semblance of privacy until time is appropriate to announce things. But in general, everything else is going to be completely open public domain stuff. So we want you guys to participate. We want you to be actively engaged. And I think by seeing how we work as a team is a really big part of that. So the team in the background has been doing a bunch of work to make this possible. You would think it would be kind of an easy process, but actually it is a process and there's a lot of work going into it. So I really thank our team for doing that. And we're targeting the 15th of August will be our first public team call. So basically every Thursday, you're going to get this open, basically open insight into what we're doing as a team. So please, we hope if you're listening to this live stream, you're probably sufficiently motivated to come pop into our weekly calls, see what's going on. Ideally, what I would like to do is also to have transcripts from public calls of, basically like weekly action reports. And then ideally, I would love to be able to, tape these things, record these sessions so we can add them to podcast channels. We'll see where that goes, but at least at a minimum, come join in on Discord. You're going to see what's going on. And then we'll also have a Q&A session on each of these, because what we want is we don't want to just be in a vacuum where we're doing our own thing. We want feedback directly, immediately, and also suggestions. We want you to be part of this team. Okay, so next slide, please. All right, so I've alluded to this. There's a company called Flipside Crypto, and what they do is they actually provide a fundamental crypto asset score, FCAS score, that if you go onto CoinMarketCap, they have a partnership with CoinMarketCap. And if you look at any project there that they cover, basically there's a ratings tab. So you can go into, Horizen or ZEN, look up ZEN on CoinMarketCap, and you'll see this tab that says rating, and you'll see a rating score there. So basically you'll see a score. We're about 790 right now out of 1,000. And our letter grade is an A for attractive. So basically the way they score it is projects can be superb, which is the highest score. Basically, scores from 900 to 1,000, you get this rating of superb. And then right below that is an A rating, which is attractive. So this says by all indications that are publicly available, the project looks like it's very high quality and it's an attractive opportunity for people to participate in. So our score actually, one thing that was a little disappointing, but also probably indicative of the quality of the project is we've been in A for a while. So we don't get that. There's a newsletter that goes out that shows projects that have significantly jumped up. We don't get that little notification of jump up because apparently we've been in A all along, which is pretty awesome and shows the level of work that's been going on. But we've just recently integrated into the APIs that are required for them to really have an understanding of what's going on with the project. So very, very proud of this. And they measure a few different things, or actually a bunch of different things. In particular, the categories are user activity, and they're looking for basically the difference between speculative user activity of basically they know which addresses are being run by major exchanges, and they know that if funds are going in and out of these addresses, it's related to speculation. And then everything else, they're looking for non-speculative activity to see how active is the user base in this ecosystem? Are people actually using the coin or the token for its intended purpose? And then developer behavior is something that's extremely important. And this is where actually we had a huge bump up by giving metadata access to our private repositories, because so much of the real innovation that we're doing has been happening in private. And that's really on the sidechain side. And by exposing metadata for what we've been doing in private, it significantly jumped our score there. And we're overall, we're in, I think, the top 25 of projects in the marketplace based on this rating. So it's supposed to be an unbiased review and way to standardize ratings across projects. Very proud of the team for this accomplishment. And it puts us, just for context, other projects that have an A score out there are Ethereum, Dash, Zcash, Cardano, really giants of projects that are very well known in the marketplace. And we are, just in terms of market cap terms, a much smaller project, but you can see that the quality of our project is there. And that's what I'm very happy about. So next slide, please. All right, so let's run through the projects and give you an update of what's going on. So first, we start with the completed projects. We have 2 slides here. Our most recent software update, ZEN 2.0.18, went out in July. Everything was a success there. The team has a kind of a mechanical mechanism for every software update. We have everything from the requirements generation to the design, the engineering, and then the release process for testing, going out to our exchange partners, our pool operator partners, and all that. Everything was pulled off without a hitch, basically. So very good update there. Marisa is going to cover a little bit about what went into it. We discussed this last time, but really the big gist is that these were, we introduced some security and market intelligence, or basically chain intelligence tools, so that people that use ZEN, for things like running an exchange or whatnot, or maybe a point of sale service, they have tools that they can use now that give them more confidence in our technology. We also had an interim release of Sphere by Horizen, our flagship app. The main purpose of the release was to be compatible with 2.0.18 on the core technology side. And then we had some additional minor improvements. We're going to talk about some significant improvements that are going live next week, and Gustavo is going to talk about that in detail. Everything you see in black here are projects that have been closed out or completed, I should say, already. We've discussed them in prior live streams. So guys, if you are interested in particular on any of these other projects that you see, and you don't see much of a description here, you can go back and watch our prior live streams to get more context. Next slide, please. All right, and same goes for all of these, actually. So these were all projects that were closed out in Q1 and Q2 of the year. Next slide, please. All right, so this is a snapshot into the active projects that we have ongoing. The big thing is on sidechains, and we have an overall commitment to deliver sidechains here. On our project schedule, it's the end of September. So that's what we're sticking to, and the team is in all-out development right now to make this possible, and we have very good progress. I have high confidence that we're going to be able to meet our release dates. And we have just, Mauricio is going to show you a timeline and all of the work that's gone into this stuff. These bullet points really don't do the magnitude of effort here justice. So we have other slides for that. But in general, what we've done now, so we've split the project into two main components. You have the Sidechain SDK, so the software developer kit, basically the tools that we're creating for developers to be able to launch their own blockchains that act as sidechains on our network. So this toolkit is critical for our developer community to be active, engaged, and to do useful, productive things with sidechains. So this we're scheduling for end of this quarter for our alpha release, and alpha is going to be released on testnet, and it'll be a basic set of tools with basically command line interface, no GUI, but very useful for developers. So now you can take a look at what we're doing and start contributing, participating, commenting, using the tools to do things, start doing some small experiments. And then from there, actually, so what we're targeting is to release a technical white paper on the beta, the follow-on beta. Basically with the alpha release, we're going to actually, work has already started on making significant progress on beta, even though alpha hasn't been released, but we're going to have a technical document that you're going to be able to see for an academically rigorous model, specifications, proofs, mathematical proofs of that model, and so forth that we're doing in conjunction with our IOHK partners. So end of this quarter will be a very exciting time for the project. So as far as the SDK is concerned, so we have the Horizen's first sidechain node went live on Devnet. I mentioned in our first slide, huge accomplishment here for the team. We lovingly call it our mini node because it is a reduced functionality node, but we have actually forward transfers that can go into the node, and every bit of functionality is working as expected. So huge accomplishment for the project there. Sidechain processing logic part 2 is in progress, and part of the blacked out projects on the previous slide was part 1, which was completed. Part 2 now is focusing on the backward transfer. So yes, you can commit Zen into a sidechain node right now, but sending that Zen back isn't yet possible. That this obviously is a major part for alpha release. And then we're finalizing a model extension, which is really what I'm talking about with the beta technical paper and mathematical modeling and proofs that you're going to get. This work is all ongoing right now with some really brilliant mathematicians and cryptographers working with IOHK, our InfoPulse partners, and our in-house team. So doing a fantastic job there. And special shout out to one of our new engineers, Daniele, for really just deep diving into all of the math behind the cryptography with the cryptographers that we're working with. So also a major part of this now, really the second huge element to making sidechains reality is we have to modify the main chain protocol to enable sidechains to exist. And there's 2 parts to this. Part 1 is done, actually. So this is these are the developments that make it possible to allow the sidechain creation. So now, at least on Devnet, you can initialize a sidechain and you can do forward transfers to that sidechain. Part 2 is ongoing, which will allow the backward transfers. And Alberto Sala and team are doing a fantastic job on that. Very happy with the progress, and very optimistic that we're going to meet our target deadlines on that. So other significant stuff that we're doing it's something maybe we don't talk about enough, but our Horizen JS 2.0 upgrade, we're targeting end of this quarter as well. Basically, we're deprecating a very important library, ZEN JS, which is used in a whole bunch of wallets and other applications that call information from our blockchain. And we have some major improvements that are going in there, and just things that we're cleaning up, bugs that were fixed, and then also new functionality that are being added. 95% of that work's done. So yeah, we say Q3, but I expect this to be released in short order. So things, some additions here, we're looking at error detection, sanity checks, really important for security, more robust code, documentation, and all that. one thing that we're making a huge commitment to, and we'll talk about this shortly in another project, is documentation. So if we're going to be taken seriously as a major protocol project, we need significant, and well done documentation. So it starts, it starts now. I mean, it started yesterday, we can say, but it's something that we're making a huge commitment to. And you're seeing this now on things that we're doing, like upgrading libraries like Horizen JS. Next slide, please. All right, so Sphere by Horizen 1.2.0 Bravo, so still in beta, release is happening next week. This is a big deal for the community. A lot of much anticipated functionality is being released next week, in particular for our node operator community, which is a big part of our community. Gustavo's going to go into some more detail here, but basically we're enabling batch withdrawal and batch split, and then swing and Horizen transparent address balance sweeps and wallet views from seed phrase are going to be possible. So some really nice, important functionality for users of the application. Something that's huge for me in particular, because we're trying to build out a major new user acquisition project. And new user acquisition, I think, is absolutely critical and anchored on having a mobile wallet, a really good mobile wallet. So we released basically an experimental mobile wallet shortly after we launched ZEN Cash a couple of years ago. This is actually a production grade wallet that we're releasing, or maybe I shouldn't say that terminology-wise. Maybe it's going to be a beta as well. But it's a mobile version of Sphere by Horizen. So really big deal because it integrates smoothly with your desktop app. Integration testing is ongoing right now. So that means a lot of the code's done. I know Gustavo's team's been working on wireframes. Basically, we had everything from Sphere by Horizen desktop translated to mobile. And now we're paring that down into a rational design fashion for not every mobile user needs every bit of functionality or interface that we have as a desktop user. Mobile applications should have a different flow to them, things that are specific to being on mobile. And that's what Gustavo and team are working on now, basically paring down functionality. Integration testing ongoing. I believe the wireframes are all set. So system testing will follow shortly, and Gustavo is going to talk about that in more detail. But importantly, guys, this is going to be for both iOS and Android. So super excited for this because this is a key anchor point for new user acquisition campaigns. More to come on that. Another, not often given its due credit, asset that we have, basically one of our most productive assets as a project. Interestingly, when you start looking at data, you start realizing what are some of the most productive assets that you have as an organization. Our faucet is a huge one, actually one of our most productive assets. So it gets a tremendous amount of activity. And what we're doing now is redesigning it to make it more gamified in a way. We want not just one-off engagements or just kind of random engagements with users on the faucet. We want something that actually flows and supports different types of engagements that escalate in type and escalate in quality of engagement, and also use this as a funnel into other aspects of the project, like Horizen Academy, getting into the wallet, getting wallets, using our tools, using our products and all that, and you're basically elevating user status in our community from being someone that just goes to a faucet because they're maybe a first-time Zen user or first-time crypto user, and now they have a token amount of Zen, to all the way at the other end of this funnel. We want someone to be an evangelist for the product, for the project, to love what we do, and to go out there and really act as show the energy, show the commitment to what we're doing, and get others to be excited as well. So a lot of that goes with the faucet. And actually, we have a big kind of data science project behind the faucet and other assets that we have to really measure the quality. Are we just getting bots that are, for instance, the question would be, are we just getting bot activity that's pulling Zen off the faucet and dumping it and ultimately dumping it? Or are we actually getting quality new users or recurring users who are really interested in our ecosystem using it? And then how can we change decisions that we make to encourage the latter and discourage the former, right? Another huge project, and this is really the first public mention in our live stream, and Jonas is going to go into more detail, but we're building something called a Horizen Developer Environment. HDE is the project. Right now, we're still, I would call it the idea phase or concept development, and phase one is getting ready to kick off, which is why we're mentioning this now. And Jonas, I believe, just published an article on Medium describing what we're doing, some of the motivations for it, and the outcomes that we're looking for. I'm very excited for it. And we have a whole slide or 2 slides about this project, so I'll leave it at that for here. But we just started. Next slide, please. All right, and speaking of HDE, here we go. So this is our commitment to trying to basically revitalize the concept of open source and really take open source to the next level. So there are a couple problems as I see it with open source. One is expecting people to just voluntarily contribute of their own time. It is great. It's more great for very large, well-known projects. It's less great for smaller projects that are less well-known. So what you want as a project is a whole flurry of productive, high-quality open source contribution, and that just doesn't come, by wishing for it. So we are taking now with this project, HDE, proactive steps to help curate productive opportunities for people to contribute to our open source repositories. So basically what we're going to be doing is carving out non-critical path tasks at first, and ultimately whole projects, probably more small to medium scale in terms of complexity projects that are tractable. And what we'll be doing with our in-house developers and maintainers and basically technical business analysts is curating the opportunities to make it easy for new developers to come to our repositories and quickly see what they can work on, link this to our education platform, Horizen Academy, and basically extend this into a coding academy, and basically gamify this process. So create a social and gamified process that developers can contribute over time and increase their level of contribution based on their proven performance and their commitment to the project. And of course, to solve what I think is one of the biggest problems in open source is we want to provide economic resources to make this possible. Essentially, this would be a really turbocharged bounty program where bounties will be done with incentives that are kind of scale with your level of participation. And ultimately, what I would love to see here is for this to evolve into a fully contained, decentralized workforce environment. So I'd love for there to be real economic opportunities here for people to make this their career, to come in, start participating, learn how to code in our academy, our code academy, contribute directly, immediately into actual live open source projects. Then as you're growing, you're becoming a more skilled developer to now flip that around. And now you can do code review for projects. You can test projects. You can come up with useful projects. And then this will link to something that Jonas is about to talk to. We're actually restructuring our online governance here. Basically, the governance for our technical governance by opening things like our ZEN improvement proposal system, where now we'll have a more robust, open communication platform for the technical members of our community. And importantly, what Jonas pointed out to me, which I absolutely love, is not just technical members of the community, but people that also want to support the technical activities of the community will have opportunities in our Horizen developer environment and our gamified platform for you also to participate. All right, so there's a lot of work that goes into an ecosystem, and this we want to really revitalize and change the way open source is done. So, that said, I'm going to turn it over to Jonas now with the next slide. He's going to go into some detail about what we've done so far.
Well, thanks, Rob. Well, that was a pretty good explanation of the HDE already. Not much more to add, but let me just point out how we're going to approach this rather big task. So basically, there's going to be 3 work streams for the most part. One is going to be cleaning up what we call our GitHub process. So first of all, this will mean going through our protocol specification and bringing it up to date. We will check where documentation is missing so that our documentation is on par, and revise our existing policies, add new ones where necessary, and so basically make the collaboration on GitHub more efficient and help everybody find some structure in this working process. Another thing that goes into the GitHub process is actually staffing up and providing the resources to actually help our open source contributors find help, find guidance, and have quick code review once code is submitted. So that's one of the work streams. The second work stream is the ZEN improvement proposal. So improvement proposals are a governance mechanism that is used across many of the larger blockchain projects already. And we believe that it's not necessary to reinvent the wheel. We see that the process is working well, so we want to adapt our own version of this process, the ZEN improvement proposal process, basically. Basically, this is a mechanism to decide upon new features and in general changes to the protocol. And once those changes and features are decided upon, they will be subject to the GitHub process where they'll actually be executed. And on top of those two pillars, we're gonna put the Horizen developer environment as a platform. That should make it easy for, as Rob already pointed out, make it easy for people that are willing to contribute to find a place to actually start. And to actually distill out problems that we could actually need some help on solving. As Rob also pointed out, this is not going to be only code-related issues, but there are many non-code related tasks that people can start working on and actually help move our project forward. I think one of the important aspects for this is going to be a collaborative effort. So basically, if you would come in and you would feel that you want to start contributing, but you don't feel confident because you might be new to software development, tackling an issue by yourself, you can flag an issue and say, hey, I have a team request for this. And somebody else that might be in the same position can say, hey, there's somebody else that is willing to work on this together. So let's do it. And so lower the barrier to entry this way. And as Rob already pointed out as well, adding incentives. First of all, we want to reward people for quality contributions. And second of all, I think it's a very naturally understood mechanism to communicate priorities in issues. So just by placing a higher bounty on top of an issue, it will naturally be solved earlier on average. So yeah, that's the HD update from my side. And thank you, everyone. Passing on to Maurizio.
Good, Jonas. So update from the engineering team. And I'm very happy to start with a new team addition. Hire excellent developers is always not an easy task. So we have one more. His name is Oleg, is based in Ukraine. He's a very experienced Java developer. He also knows some C++, some Scala. And the good news is that he joined, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and he's already contributing. So he's already running a software object that will keep track in a specific sidechain of any object in main chain that are referenced to that sidechain. So already contributing after just 2 weeks. And celebrating that, we can move to the next slide where we can celebrate even more the fact that we've got a first node or mini node or skeleton version of a node up and running, of a sidechain node up and running. It's a pivotal moment for the engineering team and for all of us because this comes after a year of intense work. The first concepts of a sidechain, the first seeds were planted late 2018, and that concept became a white paper that was published end of last year. That white paper is still available and has been the main reference for our development activity. The first thing that we had to do in terms of development was, the first thing was to select a framework that we could use as a foundation for our software. It needed to be robust and future-proof, and we selected Scorex. Scorex is written in Scala. Our sidechain needed to be easy to change to code, and maybe Scala was not the best choice. So we selected Java as the first language to implement SDK. So the first activity that we had to do was to write interfaces, Java interfaces, so that our software could talk to the underneath layer that is the Scorex framework. After that, we could code all the components that make a node. And while doing that, we kept on working on the high-level model. So we selected the consensus protocol, Rob Viglione, that is the proof-of-stake consensus protocol that will come together with our SDK. And here we are. We can move to the next slide because we've got a node up and running. And in the next days and weeks, we will keep testing not just each component, but also how the components interact and test all the edge cases like many forks and and all the possible things that can happen or that you can think of, and getting ready to show it to the rest of the world by the end of this month. And in the next slide, we've put some details of the work. This is meant as a reference. I'm not going to go through all of that, but I will use just 1 minute for some highlight. On this slide is about ZEN. So ZEN is a software that, as we all know, runs one of our Horizen blockchain, main blockchain node. We had to change it so that it can support the protocol to talk to Sidechain. And we've already done some of that. We have implemented the transaction that can create a sidechain. So create sidechain 5, boom, transaction in main chain, in Horizen blockchain. That software is done. And also forward transfer. So send some coins to an address on a sidechain. Send 5 ZENs to address XYZ in sidechain number 5. Go. And okay, so that's done. There is more to be done, and that will happen in the next weeks. And the next slides, we've listed some of the items of the project for sidechain. As you can see, all the main properties of a sidechain are listed here, and most of them have been done. So, for instance, mempool is the software object that tracks all these transactions that still need to be processed. And or history is the software object that keeps track of all the blocks and the links between them, the blockchain. And okay, that's done. And you have all the details in here if you are interested in getting a better understanding of the project itself. And next slides, I mean, we spent many words on the sidechain, but we are well aware that in that we are running a blockchain right now, and this blockchain is running well, and we just went through an upgrade, and we're all very proud of this upgrade process that we have. It's based on deprecation cycles. Is that way of managing it has got some benefits because it reduces risks and it brings consistency. At the same time, we all know that it's delicate and it can only work if we have a community that is very responsive and that upgrades in a timely manner, and that's what we have. So while we are thanking here all the developers who worked on it, the IT, the infrastructure team that delivered the code and distributed it, the testers, project management, marketing. The marketing's role is essential because communication is fundamental to be able to make sure that all the nodes upgrade. On behalf of all these people who work on this, I want to thank the community. And the next slide, we are mentioning, mining pools and node operators, exchanges, everybody running a full node who upgraded and make it possible to run blockchain this way, in a continuous update mode, so that it can always be safe. And talking about safety, this last upgrade, and the last thing I want to say before handing it over, is that this last upgrade made our ZEN even more robust, even more secure. And that is a key part of our job, and not just to add functionalities like the sidechain ones, but also to make sure that what we run is always as safe and robust as possible. And so I'm happy to say that this is taken care of. And with that, I'm done, and it's all yours, Gustavo.
Hi, everyone. So 3 weeks ago, we released 1.12. This new version of ZEN supports null data transactions, which basically allows you to add arbitrary data to the blockchain. And you can perform this type of transactions on Sphere using the terminal. We also refactored the restore logic for full mode, which now results in much faster restores. We upgraded the bundle ZEN to 2.018, and also when restoring a wallet, now users can specify the number of addresses of both transferred and shielded addresses to restore. We now have a more robust support of other HD wallets. And regarding 1.20, so currently we are testing the much anticipated 1.20, which will bring the features that all the node operators have been waiting for, the batch withdrawal and batch split. Batch withdrawal, which is the ability to sweep the balances of multiple addresses to one specific address, and batch split, which is the inverse operations. These two features will allow to the node operators to easily manage their stake addresses, so it's really helpful. Also, to allow to the migration of Sphere, we added the ability to import Horizen and Swing wallets directly into Sphere. So basically, we sweep all the full balance of those wallets to an addresses within Sphere. So that will be really helpful for if you are planning to migrate from both Horizen or the Swing wallets. We also added the view backup seed phrase in the wallet techniques. And I'm also happy to announce that we have this release scheduled for next Friday. And also, soon we'll be able to share with the community a sneak peek on our new mobile wallet. And it's everything on my side, and I'll pass it to Alan.
Thank you very much. And regarding the 2.0.18 update, got all the tracking system also updated, all the ZEN nodes it works with. After updating, there were a small number of nodes that could no longer pass a challenge. This was due to a library update in 2.0.18 that required a higher level of entropy to generate random numbers. Some VPS providers could not supply that, and the nodes had to be moved to a different provider. This points out that ZEN software is continually evolving, and the requirements to run a node may change from time to time. We are also back on track for retesting all of the tracking server updates that were delayed a couple months ago. We're going to start testing those this week and are targeting the weekend of the 24th for deployment. And that you can see a list of different items that will be in that version, plus a few other tweaks that have been taking place that will be added in before the deployment. And there have been some public discussions going on in some other coin communities about how a high number of private transactions helps make it difficult to look for patterns and identify or assume some information about a particular transaction. There's one coin out there claiming that a competitor has only a few private transactions per day, and that their own coin has over 6,000 a day, making it more difficult to check for patterns. So looking at the counts of private shielded transactions from all the node challenges, both secure and super nodes, it turns out that we're averaging about 9,700 per day. Some days we're even reaching over 13,000. So if high numbers help create a higher level of privacy, as other coins claim, then the ZEN network provides a very good environment for private transactions. I think our marketing team is doing a bit more research to validate some of this and working on a potential blog post about it. And with that, I'll hand it over to Lucy for a marketing update.
Hello, everyone. Lucy here from the marketing. Happy August. Last month, we added a very exciting new addition to our merch store, the Horizen branded new cool wallets. And then we hosted a giveaway of a free cool wallet to show appreciation of our Horizen fans. So The giveaway actually became one of our most popular giveaways with a total of 9,990 valid entries. So a very lucky winner, Matt from New Jersey, won the free Cool Wallet this time. So congratulations, Matt. I will personally mail you the Cool Wallet today. So thank you everyone for joining the giveaway and sharing this event on social media. And then also thank you to our partner, the Cool Wallet team, for this kind of fun event and for supporting ZEN and providing us such nice product. So if you didn't win this time, don't worry. We will always have fun events like this one, and you just need to make sure that you follow us everywhere on social media, and also subscribe to our newsletter. And of course, now you can also purchase the Horizen Cool Wallet from our official Horizen store. And then I have to say that the actual product is much nicer than the pictures. I have one myself. In fact, all the Horizen team members each has one. So the Cool Wallet is pretty cool. The inventory is limited, so it's selling pretty fast. So if you're interested, make sure that you grab one from our store before it's gone. Next slide, please. Okay, so in the past couple of live stream, we released a new design of some existing pages on our official website, and we also added some new pages, and then we continue to make more improvement. And the latest improvement is our exchange page. So we changed the layout and added some additional information that we believe to be very useful for our visitors. So the new layout is easier to browse. The improvements on our website, it's an ongoing effort. So the main goal for all of the improvement is to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for people to learn about Horizen and what we are doing in general. So, it's also, just make it easy for people to find everything they need to join our ecosystem. So all the improvements are made based on the feedback we received from our team members and also from our community. So, thank you always being so supportive and helpful, and we are always listening. And we will have more updates, upcoming updates to our website. So stay tuned for future releases. Next slide, please. All right, let's take a look at our last month performance. Again, we see a very strong growth and a nice user engagement across all boards. So thanks to our very consistent improvement that we have been doing to our website, and then of course our team and community's effort, just evangelizing Horizen everywhere, the traffic to our website is improving. Something worth to highlight is that we see an almost 40% increase in traffic from the organic search. So that means people are proactively search Horizen or search engine like Google or Bing or Yahoo, which means there are a lot of new people are becoming interested in Horizen and actively learning about Horizen. And then we also see the same trends on our social media channels. So Twitter has a 1.2% increase in followers with almost 7 million total organic impressions. And also Facebook, the post engagement is up by 50% and brought us an increase of 60% in new followers. And YouTube subscribers increased by 129% in comparison to last month's growth. And then our LinkedIn followers is up by 73% and received 30% more reactions. Last but not the least, both total visitors to our blog site and then the amount of content viewed by the visitors were increased by more than 22%. So meanwhile, the bounce rate dropped. So this also means that people are spending more time and reading about, reading more about our updates. So it's just really nice to see the growth, but most importantly for us is to make sure that we always provide helpful information and communicate effectively with our community and the rest of the world. just to get community to be more involved with the project as much as possible. So all the metrics just tell us if we have achieved this goal and where we should improve. So just to echo to what Rob said earlier about opening up our team call to the community, it's our continuous effort to improve our communication and to strengthen our connection with the community. So I'm very excited about opening up the team call, and we will share more information about that, and that will involve community input. So please stay tuned with us. And next slide, please. Okay, so we are doing the trivia this month. So first of all, congratulations to last month's winner, Juana, Pamela, and Jose. Well done. This month, the rules are pretty much the same. The only change is that we will have 2 winners instead of 3. But the prize is more attractive. Winners can choose anything from our official store with value up to $50. So anyone who watch our live stream now can join, or later. You will find all the answers to the question from this live stream. So please make sure that you stay until the end. So you will get all the answers that you need. And we will share the link of the trivia on all of our social media channels. So, make sure that you follow us. And then you will need a secret code to enter the trivia. And then you will see the secret code is shown on the screen. So we will pick the winners as usual with the correct answers. So again, good luck, everyone. Next slide, please. All right, upcoming events. So our team will be hosting or attending several events in the next couple of months. We will be hosting a meetup in France next month on the 17th. Our country leader, Vano, will be attending and potentially speaking in 2 chain point events. One is in Ukraine in September, and the other one is in Armenia in October. So he will also be attending the DevOps conference in Georgia. And then also our community manager, Guan Ying, will be exhibiting in a large conference called Smart China Expo in China in the end of September. So if you are in or near these areas, please come and meet our team if you can. We will announce more events as they come up in the coming months, as they always do. And then also, if you can host Horizen meetups or anything like that, let us know as well. We would more than happy to support if we can. Next slide, please. All right, regional updates. So this is the section to show the accomplishment that we made in the past months and what we'll be doing in the coming months in the different regions in the world. So let's move to the next slide, and the slide is mine again. So China market. So we're doing really well. Our Chinese community is growing as always, and Guan Yi is doing a really good job growing the network. So what he's been working on recently is to grow from the grassroots level, to grow a Horizen ambassador network. So currently we already have ambassadors in 6 different cities, provinces. We have ambassadors in Shanghai, in Inner Mongolia, in Chongqing, in Beijing, in Foshan, and also in Taiwan. So all of those ambassadors are volunteers, basically, and people who just really support Horizen and wants to get involved and then help out in any way they can. So speaking of community effort, one of our volunteers actually one of the ambassadors that he spoke about Horizen and then also presented Horizen, and then just kind of educate people about Horizen in one of the meetups that he attended. He was invited to talk. It's called investment logic of privacy coins, which is perfect for Horizen. And then so really grateful for that. And then also the upcoming event that I just mentioned at the Smart China Expo. So that will be in Chongqing. And it will be between 26th to 29th in September. It's a very large conference. We will be exhibiting. We will be having booths there, meeting a lot of not just like blockchain or cryptocurrency people, but people in a high technology field. So very excited for that. And that's it from me. I will pass this to Angie. Bye, people.
Hey guys, hello everyone. Okay, so let's talk about the Latin American market. We had an amazing month. So Levis hosted a great meetup in Long Beach in collaboration with BitActive. So thank you all the guys for coming to the meetup. I know the Levis had a great time. And we were also super excited and thankful for being at the Blockchain Summit LatAm that was taking place in Mexico City at the beginning of July. Such an amazing event. A lot of people from the community, very, very active environment in there. So we're super happy that we had the opportunity and the chance to be there. And last but not least, we hosted a webinar with formacionencryptomonedas.com to their students in Spain. So this is very interesting because we were able to explain Horizen and to give kind of like a one-on-one class to the students. And the webinar was super fun and amazing to share with the ones attending. There's a link so you can check it out as well in Vimeo. And we had an amazing time together. Thank you all guys for supporting the Latin American teams, the people, the community. The Spanish group has been very active lately. And thank you all guys again and see you guys soon. I'll pass it on to Manon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Angie. So we had some meetups in France too. We had a meetup at La Calmette in the south of France on Saturday. So that was hosted by Air Connect Radio and La Calmette Karting, where you can pay card tools in ZEN as well. There is an airdrop ongoing for attendees. And also for people that will watch the stream, because the speech will be streamed on radio on the next Tuesday, on the next Wednesday that will be available on YouTube. So you will have a code during the speech and you will be able to participate to the airdrop with that. Also, we have tutorial videos available in French that are translated that permit you to learn how to use Sphere by Horizen. So I can give you the link on the comments. Also, for the future meetups, so we have a meetup the 17th of September in Alsace, in Strasbourg. So that will be in Epitech. And just after this call, we'll have a meetup in Blue Moon in Strasbourg as well. So next slide, please. So the white papers are now available in French, finally. So that was a really long job to translate it, but that's finally there. So you can go on the website to watch it. Thank you to Dorian and Robin that helped me to translate it and to proofreading it. So now I pass it to Vano from Honeymoon.
Hello, everyone. I'm actually diving in from my hotel room with special lighting here. So with our slide, we have been participating in great events. And you can see the video of Blockchain Incredible Party, BIP 001 from Odessa, Ukraine, right on this slide. And this conference has been an incredible one, starting from the organization part and ending with the participants. The participants were like top-notch people from the top projects around the world. And after the conference, there have also been blockchain meetup with Giacomo Succo in the same city, Odessa. And we have also been interviewed by Forklog, Russian language online journal, which primarily operates in the Eastern Europe region. And we have been talking about Horizen and about the state of crypto and the blockchain in Georgia. The journalist actually came from Ukraine to Georgia, and she was doing in-person interviews. With the upcoming events, Lucy already talked about them. We will be attending Blockchain UA, and possibly we will have speeches there. And we will also be attending DevOpsCon Tbilisi conference in October, and we will be having speech at Chainpoint conference in Armenia on October 14 and 15th. Also, from autumn, we will be having regular meetups, which brings me to the part that to ask our community to join our big meetup group at meetup.com. The group is called Horizen Georgia Meetup, and everyone is welcome to join and visit us. This brings us to Q&A section, and it's back to you, Rob and Rolf.
Cool. Thank you very much, Vano. Rolf, any thoughts before we kick this off?
I think that was a great update. I love the detail on the development, and I'm sure lots of other people do as well. And the progress on the sidechains is outstanding. And I just saw the video that marketing tuned up. I did a little whiteboard presentation in front of a green screen late last week, and my goodness, we have a talented marketing and graphics art team. And
we have a talented Rolf.
We got a lot of talented people all over the place, right? So we have, as usual, a list of questions that people would like for us to answer, both on the live stream on the YouTube, as well as on the monthly chat on the Discord. Just want to remind everybody that we publish this video so you can look at it afterwards, share it with people, and anytime during the month, you can go through and put in questions for the next monthly update chat.
Rolf, do you want to answer a question from Skipper Tassos? When moon?
Oh man, I know, right? So I was actually kind of thinking about, looking at the price. It's been going up and down, and everybody looks at the price. It's the easiest thing to look at. One of the things that, as a U.S. person, that other folks might not realize is that U.S. people are no longer going to be allowed to trade on Binance after September 14th. And so everybody's wondering, why are all the altcoins in such a downtrade? I think part of it is that people are getting their funds off Binance. That's one of the reasons I love that we have a beautiful wallet like the Sphere wallet, because it makes it really easy for, instead of just selling funds on Binance, to actually bring them off the exchange onto a Sphere wallet, and then you can use one of our node hosting partners to host a node for you using your Sphere wallet. And then I'm very happy that our longtime exchange partner Bittrex is well known as one of the top exchanges. They've always been strong supporters, and there's good trading pairs there of ZEN BTC, ZEN USD. So for the US people that are on Binance, that are thinking what to do with their ZEN there, I encourage you to put it on either a Sphere wallet or send it directly over to Bittrex. It's very easy to do that type of transfer or withdrawal.
And hey, Rolf, speaking of easy, Erica's made our lives way too easy by actually parsing the questions for us. So a question for you is, how can someone who's interested in mining get involved with mining ZEN?
Sure, and I'm going to take that as a broad approach. So there's different ways to acquire ZEN. One of them is certainly to buy them on an exchange, and that's the most straightforward way. The next way is to run a node and get paid for the services of the nodes being provided to the network. So we have the secure nodes, which are designed to have ZEN nodes all over the world, every country, so that anybody who runs a lightweight wallet or a mobile wallet can send their transactions to a node, and it gets propagated to everywhere. So to run a secure node, you have to have 42 ZEN in an address, and either run a node yourself or use one of our many recommended node hosting partners on the Horizen Wiki to do that. Same thing with a supernode. Supernodes are going to start getting pushed to the harder on the capabilities as we start doing these sidechain applications, which is why they have heavier requirements, as well as a more dedication to the ZEN network by requiring 500 ZEN. So those two, secure nodes and super nodes, are a way to earn ZEN for services, not strictly mining, but some people think of them that way. Now, mining is running actual mining equipment to, if you have low-cost electricity in US dollars, that's usually less than 7 cents per kilowatt hour, and a place to run machines that can generate heat with a reliable internet connection, then you can mine. And you can buy a mining machine. I've found most recently that used Silicon A9 miners tuned up are very good. Bitmain has some miners, the Z11 miners, and those are both good ways to do it. And plugging in 1 to 4 of them is pretty straightforward. If you want to run 10, 20, 100 miners, you probably need to set up a more industrial environment. And there's more details that people can get on my mining blog website, blockoperations.com, for more industrial environments. So hopefully that helps. And then, of course, the mining channel on our Discord is happy to, there's people always happy to help there.
Awesome. And there's a question on potential financial problems that the Zcash team faces. And really what this is referencing is that Zcash, when they launched, they initialized their protocol to allow for basically 10% of their coin supply to flow to a kind of a founder's fund that was also used for the Electric Coin Company and for the Zcash Foundation, as well as repaying early investors and the seed, basically their seed investors. That was programmed to expire after 4 years, and they're coming up to that expiration point. So basically their community right now is going through a decision process of whether or not they extend basically the diversion of block reward that created that fund in a way that's very analogous to what we have with part of our block reward going to treasury. And there's an excellent blog post by Zuko explaining the history of that and his thoughts, his recommendations. And the question for us is, if there is a disruption in financing for, say, the Electric Coin Company or their foundation, and these guys do some really heavy-hitting cryptographic research in this industry, and for sure we benefit tremendously from upstream improvements that we incorporate, in particular something that we have integrated but not yet going live, sampling, things like that. Very valuable R&D that they bring to market. Would it be disruptive for us? First of all, I think if they went away tomorrow, absolutely it would be disruptive. I think for the entire industry, because what they're doing is very innovative, and they really are pushing the technology frontier in a particular privacy, transaction type dimension, which I think is critical for, so much that we're doing that other people are doing. That said, I don't see them going away tomorrow. So this is something that's a very lively, active debate within the Zcash community. I would be shocked if Zcash, lost funding for these organizations that they've set up that are performing phenomenally and doing such good work. I would be shocked. In fact, as a member of the Zcash community, I would recommend that they don't cut funding for these guys. That said, even if they do in the worst case scenario, their team, their organizations are very, very motivated to doing good work and contributing. I suspect that they would not have a hard time finding other sources of capital and continuing operations in some capacity. So all that said, I'm not so worried about it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. They've done just amazing things on shielded and zero knowledge proofs. They have built the most advanced team. And one of the things that takes time, as we've seen, is to build up a team that works well together. It actually takes a few years to do that. And as our team has evolved, one of the things that I'm pleasantly review is how the structure of the Horizen organization has gotten somewhat similar to the Zcash organization. We have a not-for-profit foundation. We have a private company that develops on ZEN sidechains, just like Zcash has a nonprofit and a for-profit company. We've got a strong team of developers. We're doing new technological research on the sidechains, as well as a more focus on the user side of things with the wallet. They're continuing to do their fundamental industry-leading improvements in zero knowledge cryptography. So I think the two projects are certainly complementary. However, what they're doing, like you said, is it's groundbreaking. It's important. I'm sure they're going to get the support of their community. That said, the thing that we're doing with voting and on side chains, really that's a necessary part, because how are they going to actually find the will of their community? And voting is one way to do it, but there's a lot of difficult ways to figure out if you're actually getting the will of the community when you're getting a vote. So again, that's why our voting sidechain application is so important.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, Rolf, we've gone about 15 minutes over, and I think we've exhausted the main questions there. I think this is such an excellent monthly update. Thank you very much for the team for putting it together. Really, Rolf and I have the easy job of coming here and getting to talk. All the work that goes on behind the scenes is phenomenal, and the work that the team's actually doing that we can report on is fantastic. So thank you very much to everyone. Please, you like, retweet, you subscribe, participate in our communication channels. It's really important that we grow our community and that we maintain and increase our engagement with that community. So be a part of it. Thank you very much for chiming in.
Thank you.